A few months ago, the western Ghats of Maharashtra seemed like a nearly parched mountain range. Now, the monsoons have arrived, rejuvenating the landscape once more. As life begins to emerge out of every nook and cranny, one special subject has drawn me towards it for the second consecutive year. Last monsoon, I photographed the Oriental Dwarf Kingfisher, the most colourful kingfisher in the world. This monsoon, my goal was to narrow the gap between us and create a detailed close-up photograph, depicting just how astonishing natural design can be. Stick around for the entire video and I'll show you the several attempts that went into the making of this shot. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kenneth and this is episode 2 of Part of the Flock, a bird photography series where I'll take you behind the scenes and show you how I photograph some of nature's most breathtaking moments. July to September in western India is when the Oriental Dwarf Kingfisher's nesting takes place. Both parents arrive individually with different types of kills to feed their incredibly fast-growing chicks. The first nesting site that I visited was under a dense canopy of trees that were blocking an already limited amount of light thanks to overcast skies. The only detailed element in my photograph was unfortunately the noise because of high ISOs. My Canon 5D Mark IV just couldn't produce a clean enough image, so I had to try elsewhere.
Where the neon stars shine and the whiskey flow in the dark of the night, so nobody knows we're hanging on a memory and I'm hung out to dry, just a doing our time where the neon stars shine.
The second nesting site also had a dense canopy of trees, but lucky for me, the low-light Sony a7S III would render a near noise-free image at 12,800 ISO. With the lack of light, creating a detailed close-up photograph wasn't possible here as well, so I focused largely on filming slow-motion footage.
Okay, so my settings are all done and I'm just gonna wait and see what happens. The same old game of wait and watch, and in addition to waiting and watching, it's a lot of listening because you can hear their high-pitched sound. It's like a treat, except it's much more high-pitched and faster than that. But it's also a very soft sound that can get drowned with the other ambiences in the jungle, so you really have to pay attention. I only wish I can see both the parents together. I've never seen them together on a perch. I've seen them together on trees in a distance or off the side of the perch, but never together. I can hear it.
Before the kingfisher enters its nesting hole, it looks up at the canopy to make sure that it isn't being followed or watched. Predators like snakes or large birds of prey perched in the treetop mustn't be around. Though the kingfisher has speed and agility on its side, its vibrant color is a clear giveaway. When the kingfisher is reassured that it's safe, it will fly into the nesting hole, feed its chicks, and leave to make another kill.
This guy was so loud. I got it flying into the nest. And it just flew back outside. That was incredible.
Throughout the day, the parents bring an assortment of kills. Insects, crabs, lizards, skinks, and frogs are the most common prey base. They're abundant and full of nourishment.
And these guys are so fast. And you can hear their wings. It's like a crazy. It's so important when you're shooting a particular species to know what its call sounds like, because that is a clear auditory indicator if your subject is near or far. And I think the next time the kingfisher makes its little call, I'm gonna just peek through this opening and see if I can spot it somewhere. And just having that extra visual aid will help me predict its angle of approach, whether it's going to come forward or it's going to go toward the perch. And it's so important to be ahead of your subject in terms of predictability and what it's going to do one step down the line or two steps down the line. Oh, it's come. Whoa. It's got a skink. See, the skink seems almost as long as the kingfisher. That's gonna be quite a mouthful for the chicks.
Sometimes the kills are still alive, just like this one. The kingfisher was momentarily startled. And watching that again, notice how the skink's tail brushes against the kingfisher's foot. Abruptly moving prey that was assumed to be motionless can be a little freaky, even when you're a predator. In case you're wondering why the kingfisher holds its prey upright, almost as if it was posing for a photograph, well, that's because it feeds its chicks head first. This feeding angle not only protects the young ones from esophageal abrasions, but it also ensures that the prey cannot escape.
Most often the prey that the parents bring are somewhat disoriented or almost dead, and that's because when the parent catches the prey, it will hold it in its beak and then whip it on a rock. Just continuously whip it until it is basically knocked out, and that would make it easier for the chicks to swallow, because there would be less of a struggle. When the parents happen to bring back crabs, you're going to notice that the crab is dismembered, which means it's losing its pinchers or its legs. Again, It loses those limbs because of all of the bashing back and forth.
Fully grown freshwater crabs that forage nearby are safe from the kingfisher. It's the small crabs, however, that need to be more careful. A rock-agama passes beneath the nesting site. I haven't seen a kingfisher with a large agama kill before. Perhaps it's too much for the young chicks to gulp down. If the kingfisher doesn't get it, then something else might.
The sun keeps coming and disappearing every now and then. And I'm still just hoping it rains a little bit because I want to get those raindrops in slow motion with the kingfisher. This drops just bouncing off its head, off its back, off that perch. Just sounds like a far-fetched dream or something. By default, there is another log just 7 feet before that perch that's set up, and the kingfisher landed there a short while ago, and I got a really good close-up.
This is the third nesting site that I visited in my quest for a close-up shot. The canopy was a lot denser, there was heavy rainfall in intervals and barely any light for a quality photograph. To compensate for a decent exposure, I dropped my shutter speed to as low as 1/20th of a second. Again, not the ideal setting for a detailed shot. This photograph shows you just how small the kingfisher actually is. The fourth nesting site, however, is where my luck slowly began to change. The only catch was that it was a lot deeper into the jungle. Steep climbs were traded with slippery, slushy muck. And tree markings like this one were the only way to navigate without getting lost.
Another couple of 100 meters to go.
The distance from my perch to the photo height that I was shooting from was approximately 20 feet. At an equivalent focal length of 560 millimeters on a full frame camera, this was the closest I could get. The crop mode in 4K video helped me get a little closer, but for a still photograph, the distance between my camera and the kingfisher had to be narrowed down tremendously. To do that, I needed a makeshift camera trap. I concealed my camera within the foliage outside and let it do the shooting by itself, without me having to be there. The setup had to be done within a few minutes so that the parent kingfishers didn't notice me and that they could carry on their feeding activity safely and uninterrupted. After my frame was set, all I had to do was wait, watch, and hope that the kingfisher landed within my composition. When the kingfisher arrived, my camera fired. There were times when it didn't land where I hoped it would, and I got shots like these. Sometimes it wouldn't even land within my frame. But when it landed where I wanted it to, I was finally able to get the shot that I had envisioned. It's often said that bird photography is complete when you capture the glint in a bird's eye. Well, this time we've managed to capture the entire reflection of the canopy above within the eye of one of the smallest kingfishers in the world. I spent a total of 35 odd hours spread across 7 days. My batteries died on multiple occasions when I needed them most, and I risked my camera gear under heavy rainfall just for a photograph. But it's moments like these that outweigh any challenge or risks. The many intricate designs and colors of nature go way beyond verbal expression. It's humbling to be able to share our planet with such incredible beauty, and it's absolutely surreal to be able to experience it up close. Maybe next year I'm going to try and photograph it in flight. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Your support will help me continue to tell stories of the wild and connect even more people with the natural world. I'll see you in episode 3.